Shift A, T, and Z, they say, but I see through the lies. Under this digital sky, my authentic self will rise.
Hello everyone, it's your host MX2, and in this video I'm basically going to go over the starting process of a tutorial that I already did, and I'm just going to go back and try to retroactively set myself up for the beginning of that, because I realized that a partial tutorial and a complete tutorial, the only difference is me going back and basically retroactively trying to do something I already did. So with that said, let's go back and try to do what I did. It's not that complicated, even though it kind of is. So I'm going to take this cube, and let's see, my computer's being a little weird. Computer's been really giving me the business today. Alright, there we go. And we will press SZ2, and we'll press, let us select this top face and this bottom face, and in edit mode, we'll press Q and mark that. And I see that my keystrokes aren't being displayed. So one moment while I address that. Obviously, keystrokes not being displayed is completely unacceptable. I apologize. I could restart if you like. Here, let's hit it with the control and start it over again. So, hey guys, it's your host MX2, back from the endless void. So let's press SZ2, and from here, we'll just press Control A, apply to scale, tab in edit mode, we'll grab these two faces, and we'll just press Q and mark them. If we press Control tilde in object mode, we can see that our sharpening is set to basically everything. I always have it set to everything because how else am I going to use sharpening, right? So we press Control 3. Now it's a cylinder because, you know, the faces are sharpened at the top. So we put a loop in the middle and we just scale it out. I mean, there's so many ways that we can approach this, and I actually just realized that we've done this so many different ways in the past. For example, I think I originally put 3 loops and then went back to object mode and pressed Q, went into add modifiers and added a lattice, and then under lattice expanded to Z. To talk about lattice for a moment, and then from there I was able to turn it into the shape of a bot leg. You know, if I'm trying to just retroactively do this like I did it once back in the day, but the goal was to kind of dial back and just do like the old classic, but do it in a completely different way for this new tool. So setting the stage for that, we'll just go ahead and hide that, and we're just really just eyeballing it. You know, we're just walking around the shape, really kicking the tires. It's like, hey, you know, it's pretty good shape. You know, I think I'll take her home. Never mind, I was about to make an illicit joke. But yeah, I think I'll take the shape home. You know, really, we could begin using nSolve immediately, you know, or nFlow at least, just getting weird with it. So right now I'm testing the final version, meaning I haven't fully tested it. I'm out of time. I'm so out of time. I'm completely out of time, you guys. I wish I had more time to test. Just know that it's so expensive to test. I can't afford it anymore. I must apologize. So, that said, let us get in, boys. So right now, we are in tour mode, but if we uncheck it, we are in regular mode, which is basically nFlow with creative capabilities. So we want to create a new preset, and we see that whenever we click on it, it creates a new preset, which is the design. We want to create a new preset. When this is enabled, it enables all the elements by default, which we do not want. But you know, let's play with inset. You know, I'm just doing a little tool test right now, and we're just going to set to inset, and really that'll do. And let's go in edit mode, and we want to paint this. So before doing that, we will go under the advanced panel. I love working in tour mode, but bypassing it. Like, it's a very strange request to ask the coder, hey, can you make tour mode, lock it down, not scary for the user, but also make it where I can break out of it. It's like, why would you want to break out of tour mode? It's like, I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I make prisons and I break out of my own prisons. But now we're able to basically paint the faces and then perform the inset, bypassing the need to press I, which isn't the most major thing. We're just goofing off here. We're just being weirdos. Like, really what we're doing is so minor. It's not even any need to use nFlow for this, but this is us just warming ourselves up. So, you know, let's extrude, and you're like, man, this dude's literally typing extrude. He's typing extrude. I can't believe this guy. The nerve of this guy. He's trying to sell this to me. I'll punch him in the throat. Hey, I'm with you. Let us set this to add. And we see that we actually set the wrong extrude. Oh, actually, we put screw on this. Let's, alright. Let's try that again. So now we'll go in and perform an inset. We're just having a little fun here, guys. Extrude is just, you know, there's multiple extrudes in Blender. And we just chose the extrude that didn't match our wishes. So that one's probably the one we want, but we actually want to extrude on the normal. So let's try it again. Extrude. I just know that I want normals. You know, I could just hack my way through and be like, oh yeah, guys, that's fine. But no, that's fine. We only want the best. And look, I'm not trying to bullshit you at all. Listen, bullshit results in bullshit. So these tools, they must genuinely be good. Genuinely. Or else I'm wasting my time. And I'm not trying to waste my time. I could go heal animals or wash fishes or something. I could go do something that actually matters to somebody. But I do care about the problems that we're solving here. So let's just get rid of these loops. And I mean, you know, I'm ranting about being useless. And I mean, the moment I start adding additional commands to this tool, I start shutting up. I start shutting the hell up. I mean, you want to see what shutting the hell up looks like? We put edge loop in here. And we put it on edge, right? And, you know, edge loop what? Like, hey, why does this tool exist? I don't know. But, hey, if you showed me this tool and was like, hello, I made this tool for you, sir, I would be like, oh my god, what hath you made, sir? I would leave the room and have to return. And that's kind of what happened to me over the course of this tool. I requested a bunch of things. And what's crazy is I got them. Like, I got them. I asked for some very crazy things. I was like, listen, look. This is going to sound really weird what I'm about to ask for. And it's going to sound possibly stupid. And also, I didn't want to shift into auto smooth. Let's right click and shade flat. You know, that's the way that you do it in the Blender way, right? And we'll turn off auto smooth because we're just trying to be procedural here. So we're working off a view. We're just putting a circle in here, and we'll make it a union. And we don't even need it to be exact. We can press Alt-E and make it fast. I mean, it really doesn't matter. But we do want to look at what we have going on as far as our edge flow, because 24 might be a lot for a circle. And I sometimes make that mistake. Maybe too often, to the point where the Topo gang is laughing at me. You know, I pretend like I'm a Pokemon character and I have rivals out there, and those rivals judge me harshly, and they're like, Master Xeon used bad topology again, you know, in their Shadow Fortress. We're all in Shadow Fortresses in my brain scenario, but you're like, hey, can you shut the hell up and get back to my... I'm sorry. I mean, I also try to lessen the swearing, but you know, what do you think about when you're modeling? When I'm modeling, I'm like Cubert. I'm only thinking of expletives. Sorry. I'll shut up. We'll apply this, and we'll play off of this dot and perform a cut. And what I've kind of realized recently soul searching is that I only need the tools to work. I need the tools to work. Which sounds very crazy. I mean, that's what you as a customer wants too, right? You're like, yo, I hope the tools work. But no, I actually am focused on so much more than the tools working. And it just isn't a way to live. I mean, it works, but let me tell you, you end up with more people mad at you than happy with you. So let's jump back over, and we're just going to perform a quick inset, just paint this in, and, you know, we're just being random. And we'll just perform an extrude, because extrudes, you know, when things are set, to general click, I say, whoa, bro, you're harsh. Like if you give me a config and you have things mapped to nothing, I'm like, whoa, you really hate keys, bro. You hate keys altogether because you mapped it to nothing instead of making it on Shift, Control, or Alt, which is how the tool's made. But you know, it's just like a kind of a, like I said, I'm a weirdo, and my jokes aren't funny, and you know, I'm a loser. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna get back to work. You know, producer's looking at me. He's like, dude, I'm leaving. I thought I would hack it. I'm not going to hack it. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I try to hack it, double mirror. One mirror, I'm already hacking it, right? But we're still just setting up chapter 1 of the demo. That's it. Just chapter 1. We're just having fun here. So, sorry, I'm not going to keep you all day. This is like my in-action cursory introduction to nFlow. Just how to use nFlow just in action. Just we're getting in here like Vietnam. I just handed you a gun and I'm like, hey, go kill our enemies, you know. But with this scenario, I'm set up for something called a wham bam. But to do that, we have to get this off of Alt. So we can actually put that on Shift, and then, you know, we actually can't put it on Shift. We probably want to put that on Control. And then Control can be the one that deals with that. But we also want to set that to have paint behavior, so we'll enable after. Just because I've been spending a lot of time with the tool. But we want to hit this with what I call the wham bam. And also edge loop being on null edge, which is what I call it when you have nothing mapped. You just have it on edge. Just edge loop will just be there. And I love this. But sometimes I don't want that. Sometimes I want it on Control. Because it's a lot easier to just have it on Control and edge, because I just press Control, I see it, I don't have it. And that's what I mean. Sometimes actions being dominant are very hardcore. And I mean, I don't judge you for having dominant actions, but I'm like, whoa, very dominant of an action. Very hard to work that way. I mean, I still have to select stuff, right? And I still have to do like null selection in between, but I always do something called flowing out, which is where I jump around through my configuration in order to basically selecting. So we see that there's a small mesh issue here, and we're just staying in tour mode, just, you know, checking the weather here, collapsing everything, you know, gotta keep things tidy. And right now, I don't even have the reminder system really being displayed, but let's focus. I'm a squirrel, or I'm a dog, or whatever it is that chases after squirrel. My girl told me humans don't actually chase after squirrels, so I got problems. So we are going to exit out of creative mode. We're going to add a new behavior, and we're going to type in something called collapse, and we're just going to borrow collapse from insolve. And by borrow, I mean we're going to put it on control and point. And now what that means is whenever I hover over a point and I control drag, it will just solve that by performing a quick merge of that in the area. I call it a gravitational merge. So we're just doing a small bit of cleanup, you know, really nothing major. And what we want to do is get in here and hit this with what I call the wham bam. And we could add it to our current configuration, but I don't think we're going to be doing a whole lot of wham bamming. I think we're going to wham bam once today. And I know what you're going to say when you see this. You'll already know what's next for the tool when you see me do this. But we want to go in and choose triangulate. Let's see, what was it again? It wasn't triangulate. Let's double check. I'm going to drag down an info editor or a info readout. And we'll just exit nFlow for just a moment. And let's press Control T. Alright, so it's convert. So we'll convert to tries. And then we'll set up a secondary command of convert to quads. And what we'll do is make it where you can do this when you have faces selected. And you can do this on any range of faces. Or actually, no, you can do this on specifically one type of face. And then the second one, we want to make this one where we can do it on any range of faces. So we have this set to add. And what this means is that, you know, with this one being mapped to face on control, this one mapped to just general, we should be able to hypothetically tap, tap. And I just call it the wham bam, and I just love it. So we do it to the other side because you're like, hey, what the hell did you just do, bro? Let's first fix this point. So we alt scroll. So alt scroll is enabled through this icon in the top bar. Currently my preferences are modified because I've been testing the tool heavily. So basically I have alt scroll turned off, but if I now enable it, I can alt scroll back and forth, and we could also press 1 and 2 to jump back and forth between configurations. So it's just important to keep that in mind. We should have separated with a preference, but we're trying to keep the amount of preferences a little bit minimal just to avoid being intimidating. But continuing on, we'll just press 2 and let's hit it with the wham bam. And just like that, it was just tap and control tap. So this is really the gist of what the tool is all about, is taking these actions that you need for very small micro moments and making them like able to be used. You know, watch this video end up being the most effective ad. Just me being simple and candid and working in action. I mean, that would be very nice if this turned out to be the video, because I've been very nervous about how to convey this product to you, the user, without, you know, making you think like, man, MX has lost his mind, because I truly haven't. I am modeling and I'm feeling pain, and I want to continue modeling, and I see that there's a path to do that if we make certain efficiencies happen in the modeling realm. So, and those are with accessibility of repetitive commands that might be hard on the hand to press repeatedly. But let's continue. We're going to call this preset Wham Bam, you know, and it ain't nothing, you know, it's just Wham Bam. I'm surprised that let me name it nothing. That's a bug. I mean, I would call that a bug, but it's probably fine. And we could also give it a color, like an override. Like right now, our defaults are to be blue, but we can override to be whatever color. Like, and I love this. This feature, we added this at the last minute. Last minute, it was requested by me. Everything was requested by me. Everything is at my behest. So if it fails, it's also my fault. So let's put a loop here, and we'll put a loop here, and let's just get this thing moving. Sorry, I'm like totally wasting time. So whenever you add an edge loop, you have the luxury of pressing E to make it even, and F to flip it, and F to flip it back, and I just cannot stress how great that is. So we want to connect this to this. So let us do that. We are going to just add a new behavior, and let's use Blender's own connect behavior. So I believe it's called connect. And we want to map this to point. And we also want to give this behavior of, or the history, the selection of after, which means I could click from one to another, and then it forms a connection. Otherwise, it will give an error. To display that error, let's uncheck it. And we see that, you know, basically in this case, it didn't even work out, which is actually better than what was happening before. I think before it threw a Python, which is what I call an error. You know, nothing's worse than getting hit by them 28-inch Pythons, which is what you call it when you get hit by error after error after error. Just kidding. I just made that up just now based on Hulkamania. I'm not a fan of Hulk Hogan. I mean, it's kind of funny that people pretend he's okay, but he's as not okay as Vince McMahon, guys. And Vince McMahon is very not okay. I think his whole empire is going to... Never mind. I'm talking about really weird stuff. I shouldn't even talk about my understanding of wrestling. You know, and you might be wondering, hey, what does MX know about wrestling? Well, that's because my brother was in control of the TV due to being bigger than me. So as a result, he knows a lot about wrestling. And he taught me about wrestling in the way that brothers teach their brothers about wrestling. So, needless to say, I do not send him Christmas hams. Alright. So we'll just put a loop cut here. Just kidding. I'll send him some Christmas spam anytime. Brother, if you're out there, just kidding. He's not going to watch this video. He'll be like, what's a blender for reals? Everyone in my family is so very far from what a 3D program is that it's fine. 3D is such a unique field, and my points feel so small. I'm just going to enable big points. And one of the things about big points is I noticed that they're able to show up through the mesh. If you have the latest version of HardOps, you'll be able to basically access the preferences of nSolve through your viewport window through the Control K. If not, you'll have to bring up your preferences, which is no big deal. There's just so much that we're having to do at once that it's hard to maintain all of these plans all at the same time, especially when they start interconnecting. So really what we're looking for here is vertex overlay depth, and we're just adjusting it slightly, and I'm thinking that maybe we expose that just slightly because who knows when it will go mad once again. And, you know, it looks like it's probably based off of viewport clipping, but, you know, when it comes to those dots, we certainly tried. Now I'm hovering over this point and I'm pressing shift because I'm a big fan of having something called vertex slide. So we're going to search for slide, and let's see, vert slide, and we're just going to map that to vertice and shift. So now whenever I hold shift, I'm able to just slide. So no more GG. I love GG. It was the greatest idea ever, but move over. Now GG is being replaced by absolutely nothing. It's being replaced by null. And, you know, if you're the type of person who's looking at this and you're like thinking, oh man, I can't believe he made a tool that uses Blender actions. Well, look at my previous release logs where I'm talking about how Blender just continues to do very bad things to our dreams. And as a result, it has definitely impacted the way that I see developing in Blender. So I'm all for creating unique solutions when possible, but I also see that, you know, Blender itself is like, will fight against those solutions. And one of the things you'll probably notice with a nFlow tutorial is there's really not a lot of narration about these dang commands. And my goal is to literally talk about anything in tutorial. I'd rather talk about Hulk Hogan. Not even like Hulk Hogan like that. You know what's crazy is I will look at a point and I'm like, hey, let's put knife there. You know, this whole tool is about me not having to press these keys on the keyboard anymore, because the less keys I have to press, the longer I'm able to work. And because of all that we're doing here, like, I don't know, I've been a bit of a gladiator lately because, you know, modeling is already taxing and AI is already taking over. And, you know, every day there's a new demotivational 3D post just showing like a, you know, AI's doing this now or doing this. Like, I used to make jokes that I would leave 3D and become like a great janitor, right? Because, you know, basically the my secret has always been to do jobs that no one wanted to do. And now AI is doing even those jobs. I'm like, oh my god, I'm done. Like, I mean, I'm not saying my goal was to be a janitor, you guys, but, you know, I liked having the option. All right, I don't know if you have the options open to be a janitor, but stay out of my bathroom, you know, while I'm cleaning it, at least, you know. And we want to get rid of that entire loop. I think I jumped over to the second one because I was going to dissolve it the hard way, but suddenly remembered that we have edge loop. And what's crazy is this is not what this tool is freaking meant to be used for. This is like its extra purpose. This isn't even my true form. And my true form is actually terrible. You know, you ever seen an anime where someone transforms and the true form is worse? That's this tool. This form is actually cooler. Like, I think Frieza might... No, actually, Frieza looks best in his final form. Just saying. You know, you can fight me in the comments if you're a ball scaler. I mean, a Dragon Ball power scaler. But anyways, you know, I'm sliding these down manually. We could also slide edges. Let's jump over to our configuration we were working on. And we're just going to add slide. And we're going to put in edge slide. And we're going to put that on edge and double edge and slide. And now we can get in here and we can slide a single edge. We can slide an entire edge. And I mean, that is the tool. That is the tool. Like, I'm hoping on a technical level you're able to see the value in that, because these configurations we offer are just, they're according to me. And I want to make a tool that allows you to make configurations according to you, out of the box, inherent to the core, is making it work for you. Because hard ops and box cutter, sorry to say, they are optimized for me. And that is great for me, less great for those who do not agree with me. And I understand that. When this tool was being planned, that was one of the main things I thought about. How do we satiate the users who are different than me? In fact, how do we let the people who are different than me prove that they are right? Because maybe they're right. And if they are, then, you know, be honest, I need to know. I'm going to hit this with a bisect, and we're going to disable the bisect for a moment. just so we can get in here and just start examining what we have going on here. And we're going to slide this, slide this. And then, sorry, I got quiet because I got reflective. I must stop doing that, but you know, I just debate on some of the lines I want to say because, you know, everything I say is a promise, and you know, I have no problem with setting up promises with you guys because I intend to hold up every promise. Like, I'm hoping that, you know, you look back on the journey of Hard Ops and think, wow, that was an excellent tool journey, because that's what it was to me. It was a tool adventure. We journeyed through workflow and exploring different ways of working and optimizations, and you know, this is just a extension of that journey. We're just journeying in another realm, because Hard Ops already showed me, like, yo, there's some efficiencies that could be had. This tool is showing me that there are some major efficiencies that could be had, and I got distracted by the ability to plug in other people's stuff. Like, I'm showing like me plugging up Blender stuff and basically install stuff, but just notice you can plug up anyone, any tool, anything. Like, and I mean, that's, hey, that's a threat. That's a threat, but I'm not trying to make threats to people. I'm just saying the tool's first and foremost best feature to me is its assimilator. The ability to basically take any command that we give it and accept it and make it something contextual that we're able to activate. So let us try that. Let us get in here, and we are going to just choose offset from insolve, and that will do. And we want to map that to, it doesn't even matter, we're just going to map it to add, and I mean, I'm just going to be lazy with it, and we'll just put it on shift. And all that means is that now I can just pull out offset edges from insolve. So we'll jump back over to first configuration, and I mean, these configurations, you watched me make it. You watched me create this configuration. I'm sorry to waste your time in video 1, because this video literally starts at video 2, but I wanted to basically give you a video like 0, so that way you wouldn't think like, man, MX is starting us off in the middle of this project, like, that's terrible. I don't want to be that guy, dude. I'm not that guy. We always start from a cube, don't we? We always start from a cube. In fact, I make jokes about it in real life, and I sound like a dumbass. Like, people look at me and they're just like, wow, what an idiot. Like, my girlfriend, she don't get these jokes. She just looks at him and thinks, dummy. I'm with a dummy. That man is a dummy. So, moral of the story, don't make cube jokes to your girlfriend. Also, I'm shaping this on both sides, when really we should probably bisect it onto the other side too, just because. But let's see, because we actually were trying to make it work out, just being weirdos. And I mean, this flow really, we could solve it that way, but what does it matter? This is just a preview of the next video. This is just us getting to the next video. So I wanted to just demonstrate a little bit of just kind of how you would use nFlow. And in my scenario, I used it a little differently, because when you usually launch the tool via the panel over here, it will automatically load configurations up for you. But the way that I used it, I basically bypassed that and loaded it through what I call the back door. I mean, I probably shouldn't use that word. That sounds a little dirty, right? But let's we'll just call this we'll call this bot leg. What's the right word? Bot leg 00. We'll underscore it at the beginning. We'll put in nFlow. You have to call it nFlow, and it's a short name, because if NFL, I made a mistake there. I didn't mean to give it the 3-letter short name of NFL. You know, just because that's how big I am not a fan of football at all. Also, let's admire our wireframe. You know, we didn't even admire our wireframe. Let's enable the modifier and just take a look at kind of what we're starting with here. So really, I was goofing off and giving you guys a tour. Let's put the tool back in tour mode, and let's also enable it, and let's have the tool displaying all of the help, so that way it's just boom, we just have a full idea of the tool now. So we could also jump into full screen mode, but you know, I'm just being dramatic at this point. So we're just getting in here and we're just really perusing this geometry because the work that it took to make it was not that much. But to be honest, I actually want to go forward and do this to my entire 3D history as a thing. But that is something that will take a bit of planning and probably forethought. I mean, Blender actually throws an auto smooth on every old file that you open, and I kind of hate that. So really, such a journey would have to be done in a version of Blender that doesn't throw a auto smooth modifier on every decal ever made. Like, are you serious, Blender? Come on, that's crazy. But sorry, my hand's being shaky because I am excited by the geometry that I'm looking at, and also very nervous that the idea is not being conveyed strongly. But you know what? Let's get in here and take a look at this area. Because if I'm going to show perfect geometry, then, hey, why am I being a hack? And we want to just slide this edge up, but we see that that is not going to work out. So we will just perform one of those babies, dissolve that edge, slide that up. And all I'm pressing is Shift and Alt. Basically the hawk, I call it the hawk, basically the talon when I'm working now. So let us pull back out. And we see that now we have acceptable, and I don't even want to say beautiful, because the topo boys will tear me apart. They'll make fun of me and call me a loser, which is what happens every time I'm proud of my topo. They're like, yo, you're actually a topo loser. Like, for example, I have this triangle right here, so there is no time to be prideful, right? Because I will be defeated. In fact, this is also why I needed to mirror it over to the other side. So if we Alt X, press A, we can press A again and then mirror it to the other side. And if we move this above the subdivision, we now have two sides that basically have the same filling with their flow, I think. Let's double check. All right. You know what? I just don't want that. And we do want to get in here and remove this loop. So we'll switch over to preset 1. And now let's take a look at the other side. And now we're good to go. So, ooh, I have to enable a viewport pref to allow me to free dolly around the viewport like that. But anyways, now I'm being really weird with the mesh at this point. But yeah, that ends part 1. Sorry for taking your time like that. Sorry. I will wrap this up and move on to the next section.
Realm, I find my domain. With each extrude, a piece of my soul.